You know on the beat every time, no. I would like to personally welcome you to Man Hour After Dark. Say that thing. While I bring you the host, Mike, Buck, and Cone. You know who's coming to the sports talk than what you about to hear right here. I second that.
Go. You know that it's us when we talking about sports. Giving you facts on the field to the court. Tune in, we need the support. 1 hour too short, then listen some more. On all your stations, not dropping no music. Starts like Adidas, but Nike just do it. Down 4 in the 4th, we go for the win. Michael 2 seconds, we taking it in. Buck, Mike, and Combs, you know what's going on. Man, now we're after dark, no LA, we the big spark. No 4th and inches won't cut you short. Got the best talking, it's all sports. Buzzing more than buzzer beaters. We coming live all through your speakers, go.
And what is up, Man Hour Nation? It is the Wyatt Williams. We've got an awesome show jam-packed for you today with all kinds of great sports, news, topics, everything going with it. I've got Torry, who's going to be alongside of me. But before I bring the Wisconsinite himself on, I want to mention, be sure to like and subscribe. We appreciate that greatly as we are on our road to 1,700. And other than that, be sure to join the members only tab. And now, without further ado, the Wisconsinite himself, _Torry. How are we today, sir?
I am doing outstanding. I started, today's my last day of working from home, and only to find out, because this is my last week at my job before I start the new job next week, that they pulled me off the schedule for everything this week. So I got paid to sit here and do nothing today.
That's nice.
Pretty amazing.
That's
Speaking of sitting around and doing nothing, I heard you were watching the puppies today.
Right. I am hired by my grandmother. She just got 2 new puppies. And yeah, I watch them for my grandma because, it takes a lot for, puppies to be, you can't just leave puppies alone at home all day while she's at work. So she asked me to come over and watch them for her, and yeah, watch Buster and Roxy. That's all I do, man. You got to see him today.
Buster and Roxy, yes. Yeah, once you figured out where the light was and then woke Nikki up in the process, like.
Right.
And then, like, you take him out of the cage.
They are awesome, but, like, if you put them in their cage and leave them in there so they can sleep for a little bit, they will, like, I don't even know how to, it's not a whine, it's not a whimper, it's not like a bark. It's like, it sounds like a human screaming. Like, that's the only way I can explain this noise that these dogs make. I can't even create it. It sounds like a human screaming is what this noise these dogs make. And they do it for like 2 minutes, and then they go to sleep, and then they're out. They're asleep for a while, and and then once they wake up, you always find out they're woke up because they do that horrible human-like scream, and then they start wrestling in the cage. So, of course, then you got to let them out and stuff. But, every day's a process. They're getting better. We're potty training them right now and everything. They're getting it's a work in progress. They're getting better. Finally, for the first time ever, I got them to use the restroom while outside, like on command, like, hey, go potty. And they went and did, went and used the restroom outside. Like, I was so happy. So we're breaking barriers. That is all that matters.
That is. Are you telling them that they're well done? Which is just a joke because it's a book I am currently reading.
How is well done going? You enjoying that?
I'm almost done with well done.
How's it been?
I am looking forward to reviewing it with my new boss when I start the new job. It's a great book.
That seems like a copped-out answer to me. I think we should press him a little harder on this, see if we can get something out of it.
Welcome to the after show, folks.
Right. No, we've talked about this a lot. I can only read if it's a book I'm interested in. If it's not, I cannot do it. I just I'll read 5 pages and I'll get to that in 5th page and I'll be like, I just forgot everything that happened. And I'll have to go back and read it all again because I get so bored. I just stare off into space and just my eyes go across the lines, but like mentally I'm not reading it. It's so weird. But if I get like a really good sports book or or just a really good book as is. I mean, I've got a whole shelf of sports books over here. But if I get a good sports book, oh my God, I can fly through those things in like 2 days, 3 days max, But it's like, man, if it's not an interesting book, I just can't do it. But I'm kind of that way with movies too. Like if a movie there are very few super slow starting movies that I can kind of hang on for. If it's a super slow starting movie, most times I won't even watch. Like here, I'm gonna freak you out when I say this. Most people always look at me weird. 2 movies that everybody's seen that I've never mustered up the courage to actually watch because I can't stand the intros of them. Alice in Wonderland, the original one, the cartoon one. Because I can't do that intro. It takes way too long. And then The Wizard of Oz. I was gonna forget. I was gonna call it Dorothy, but no, The Wizard of Oz. The intro is just too long. I cannot with it. Now I think like I maybe could piece that movie together. Like I've seen it over time, but I've never once actually sat down and like watched that whole movie from beginning to end. I just can't do it.
What is wrong with you?
I'm not into little dogs. I'm sorry. I just little dogs and bicycles. Dun, 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 dun. No, I'm just kidding. Kansas, man. That's the other thing we were talking about that yesterday. That's what else is out in Kansas. The Wizard of Oz, Buck. That's what else you got out there. But nonetheless, we've got an awesome jam-packed show. Right. But nonetheless, we've got an awesome jam-packed show for you today. We have got everything from MLB draft. We're going to cover some NBA Game 3, which, hey, Torry, great ending to it. I mean, you got to be happy with that, right? The Bucks go down 2-0 after 2 losses in Phoenix. Get that, not just a home win. They won by what, 20 points to almost 30?
20,
it was a big win.
120 to 100. You know who is freaking out about that? Everybody that doesn't live in Milwaukee.
Is nobody in Milwaukee loving it? I mean, you gotta love this.
Well, we love it, but nobody. But they went down 0-2, and we're like, nah, we've been there before. Like it's like they did not play well on the road so far at all in the playoffs. But guess what? They've won the games that they needed to on the road when it counted. It seems like the bigger the pressure, the road game, the better they play.
I saw an interesting stat today that I'm not sure who it was, but the head referee for the game yesterday, and I saw it because of, I was looking, I follow a sports betting account, and they said that everybody was betting on the Suns to lose. And I'm like, what's the reason for this? Well, the head referee for the game yesterday, Chris Paul in the playoffs, when that guy refs, he is 0-11 when that head referee refs. He has never once won a single playoff game where that head referee was reffing the game. I thought that was interesting too. That can you imagine that? Like jogging out on the court and you're like in your warm-up gear and you look over and see that guy and you're like, oh, you gotta be kidding me right now. Are you joking? It's game 7 of the finals. Right. It's game 7 of the finals. Chris Paul has finally made it for his shot. He jogs out on the court for game 7. They're at home in Phoenix. He looks over to the scorer's table and he sees the ref there and he's like, nope. Switch him up. Get somebody different. Could you imagine? Could you do that though? I mean, I know that there's some kind of a process with like picking referees. Isn't there something with like the NFL where you can...
it's based off of how you did like in the regular season and stuff like that. Just like the NFL is like, because obviously it's an extra paycheck. It's bonus money at that point for them.
Sure.
So, a lot of them go with that. So I don't know. And I'm sure there's got to be like an extra ref, but there might not be, because I've seen refs go down and they've refed like with down one ref. So they may not have another ref there.
I don't know. Would you rather ref an NBA Finals Game 7, a Super Bowl, or a World Series Game 7 ump a World Series Game 7? Home plate umpire, head referee in the NFL, or head referee in a NBA game for Game 7?
Super Bowl, because it's one
Super
game.
Bowl.
Super Bowl, one game. Winner take all.
No, I mean like it's Game 7 for World Series and NBA.
But still, that's a whole series. Super Bowl's one game of winner take all.
I don't know. That's a tough one because
Do you know why?
The World Series is why.
Because I'm a fantasy football winner. That's why.
Hey, speaking of fantasy football, do you want to tell the viewers right now what we've got cooking up for them in the fantasy football segments?
So if you've been paying attention to what we've been saying for the last couple of weeks, we don't want you to just stumble through your fantasy football season. We're here to win. You know why? Wyatt likes to finish second. I know how to win. So we put each other together and we figure you can't lose. You're at least going to your title game if you listen to Wyatt, but if you listen to me, you're going to win it all. So
right.
We'll get you there.
I'll get you there, and Torry will come through and just finish it out because, man, I can't. I don't know what it is. I literally last year I started the year off 2-7. I was terrible because my entire team was injured. Everybody I had was injured. Even my waiver wires I was picking up. I mean, there was a week where I think I put up. I had to go with of my 9 starters. I think I had my defense and my kicker and my flex were my only. Oh, and my quarterback were my only players who weren't hurt. Everyone else was. My 2 running backs. So I had to go with all bench and waiver players to fill those positions. There was one week where I only put up in a PPR league, I only put up I think it was 75 points. It was terrible. All my friends were clowning on me so hard. And I was complaining in our group chat and I was like, my team is injured. What am I supposed to do? I remember that all my friends were like, draft better, right? Get trying to get under my skin. And that stuck with me. Right. And that stuck with me so hard. So I turned this team around 2-7. I end up finishing the season. I think I finished at 7-7. Yeah, I finished at 7-7. Scraped. And I do mean scraped into the playoffs. Just barely over the fence as the 4 seed. Had to play the 1 seed. Beat him. He was one of the guys who said, you draft better. And I'm like, oh man. And the other guy who said draft better, I had to play in the championship. And I'm like, if I could beat these guys, the first thing I'm texting in this group chat is draft better. I was so excited. I get to the fantasy football championship. Week 1, I was terrible. I think I went down 40 points. And I'm like, man, this is it. So, and then after that, I had Tyreek Hill who didn't play week 17. I had Stephon Diggs who had limited reps week 17. Dalvin Cook, his dad passed away, so he didn't play week 17. So I had that's my 3 biggest scorers right there. I'm like, oh well, I'm down 40 and there's no way. So I go on there and I get a bunch of waiver guys to fill those holes, and I end up coming back. And the Colts game was the final game that was left between me and the guy for the championship. And at this point, I was up by, I think it was 6 points, and there was 36 seconds left of the Colts game, and the Colts were up by 4, I think. And there's a 93% chance, because ESPN leagues will tell you what your percentage chance is to win. I had a 93% chance to win. I was so excited. I'm like, hey, celebration's on in 1 minute and 30 seconds when the Colts end up, running the clock out and the game's over. I look up right as soon as I say that, and I see Jonathan Taylor, who was my friend's running back, go right across the screen, 80 yards to the house for a touchdown. And I watched everything that I had just done for the last 2 months, 3 months, go right into the garbage can. I mean, I was watching him go across the screen, a tear ran down my face. It was pain. It was sheer pain, was exactly what it was. But nonetheless, this is the year. I know it is. I'm going to win it this year, even in the league with Torry. Torry, I'm beating you this year.
I mean, we're gonna have to side bet that.
I can't come in second anymore, man. I can't do it. It's not good for my mental health. Okay, it's I can't be first loser anymore. Second place is first loser, and I'm really good at doing that. I'm really good at doing first loser, but I can't do it anymore. So I've decided today I'm a fantasy football champion this year. I'm turning it around. We're going full circle. I'm going to win the league this year. I'm telling you. I'm calling it out.
Do you know how you win your league, though?
When
you draft well in the late rounds, which is what
that's true.
We talked about today. That is today. What we did. So if you're a $2.99 or more member, you can get our fantasy advice about who we think you should be picking up and who you should be targeting late round in your draft that other people are probably going to overlook. These are the guys that either showed some glimpses last year or are just kind of ready to break out, but other people are not going to pull the trigger on them because of maybe the quarterback play or the different situations that these guys might be in. They might be in an offense that's totally stacked, and you're like, they're not going to do nothing. But guess what? Sooner or later, they're going to pop off because guess what? Those stars that they have are not all going to have great games every single week. This is a game of give and take. So you are going to see these guys that we have picked. I guarantee you, some of these guys you're going to pick in the late rounds of your draft, and that is going to be the guy that gets you into that championship game and may put you over the top 2-year title. Guaranteed. It's happened every year. Every year I've won a title, I have had a late round draft pick that came out of nowhere that nobody, like people would make fun of you for drafting, and that's how I won my league.
Poetic. I love it, but that's true. That is what we covered today. Like he said, $2.99, 12 quarters. That's it. It costs 12 quarters, $2.99 to win. Not come in second like I do every year previous until now. I'm winning it now, but
just $2.99. That's my house,
right? $2.99 per month gets you all the fantasy football knowledge you need to win, not come in second like I do every year, to win your league. That is all we have for you for the intro. We will see you in 2 minutes for some more awesome, and I do mean awesome, content here for Man Hour Radio. And welcome back to Man Hour, as we're here for some more great content. Be sure to like and subscribe. We appreciate it greatly. Be sure to also go and join the members only tab, as well as you can check out a $2.99 membership to be a part of the Fantasy Footballs member only and get all of the great info that we just gave you before the break to win your fantasy league. But nonetheless, we're going to jump right in.
Hold on. Before we go to it, I want to address Drew's question here.
Yes, sir.
So Drew asks, when doing fantasy football, do you draft linemen too? Absolutely not, because there's no really way to keep stats. Like the only stat you would ever really be able to keep on a lineman would be like how many pancake blocks did he have?
Pancakes, yeah.
Yeah, and that's about it. And then that's when we bring Zen on and we go live and have Zen pancake Wyatt live on air.
I do it. Just don't forget, I started over him in 8th grade. You know, like I said, still waiting for that call from Ryan Day, but that's beside the point. We've talked some football. Now it's time to talk some basketball. We touched a little bit on it before we got into it. Game 3 of the NBA Finals last night, of course, ending 120-100. The Bucks get Game 3 over the Suns to make it a 2-1 series. They play again.
What you cut out right there, Wyatt?
They play again tomorrow night, correct?
Yes.
I got thoughts of.
Yeah.
Why did they take a weird 3-day break between Game 3? Did you?
I think that's because they do that, A, to let the team travel, and B, let them kind of adjust to time zone difference. Even though I think there's Phoenix is Mountain time, aren't they? I don't think they're Western or
I don't think
I
so.
think they're
Yeah.
Mountain. I think they're
So
Pacific.
it's only a 1 hour difference.
So
well, nonetheless,
right,
it's
so
a
it wouldn't
2 hour
be too
difference
bad.
at most. That ain't nothing. It's not like
I
it's
can tell you just from experience. I can tell you from experience. Sometimes that sucks, even if it's just that 2 hours. It throws off your schedule.
Where is a place you've been that kind of threw you off a bunch?
The worst place for me personally is Hawaii, because they are 7 hours behind. So it was always a struggle. I don't care. Every year we would go, and every morning, usually until like the day we would leave, I would be up at like 4 a.m. every freaking morning. So like the first time we were there, we're like, oh, let's go see the sun come up over the ocean on the beach, which was pretty cool, except that you had to dodge the homeless people sleeping on the beach.
Sure. That's always part of it. You gotta fight off the homeless people on the beach.
Well, no, it's not. No, it's not fight them off. Like they will bury themselves in the sand for warmth, because it gets cool. And not that it gets cool, it gets down to like 70 at night.
So they bury themselves in the sand?
Yes. All right. So Wyatt's having a little bit of technical difficulties because he must not have got a hold of Walmart to see if they could, update their Wi-Fi password and come back in. So, so Drew says,
I apologize for my Walmart Wi-Fi here.
Drew says Arizona is in Mountain Time. Actually, this time of year, Arizona is Pacific Time. What? You change time zones in a year?
What?
How do you do that?
Explain more on that, Drew, please.
Yeah, Drew, you're going to have to write an explanation of that, because how the heck do you change time zones?
You switch?
Are you talking about because
That's
of
crazy.
Like, are you talking about because of like leap or the fallback, or no, it's spring forward, fall back. So you'd go up an hour.
Yeah.
So are you just talking about daylight savings time? I'm thinking he's got Arizona. That's right. Arizona does
spring
not,
forward.
Yeah, Arizona does not change their clocks. So right now, okay, that makes sense, because then they would, because they don't have daylight savings time, they would be on the same time as the West Coast. Then okay, that makes a lot more sense, a ton. So yeah, but there again, with these playoffs, the Bucks have struggled on the road mightily with all of this, and they have now gotten back home. They've gotten where they're comfortable. They have only lost one game in the playoffs at home. So they have defended home court. I fully expect them to take game 2. The thing is, I expect this game 4 to be a tightly contested battle. If you look at the game last night, Giannis went off. So through the first 3 quarters, he had 40 points, 10 rebounds, and 5.
Did you see the messed up the stat lines or whatever for they said that LeBron and Shaq had done it, but LeBron's never done that. They messed it up because they thought LeBron had 11 rebounds. He had 11 assists and 8 rebounds that one game they were talking about. So LeBron, it was only Shaq and Giannis who've ever had a 40 and 2 back-to-back 40-10 games.
Yep. And then
so I thought that was crazy.
There was some other stat too with the 40-point games with whatever it was. He tied Jordan with it.
There was one with Kareem too. He was breaking all kinds of records. I mean, Giannis, but that's the thing that I've liked, and we've talked about this a lot, Torry, that Giannis is just putting the team on his back right now. I mean, we're seeing a different kind of Giannis. Not saying that he was never a leader, but the way he's addressing his team in the huddle, the way that he is wanting the ball. I mean, you see it vividly. He's clapping, asking for the ball. Like, he's being a leader. I really enjoy the way that he's playing. I thoroughly love watching him play right now because it reminds me a lot of LeBron during the Cleveland years. I mean, it's like just it's one great player all by himself pretty much for 4 quarters, but the Bucks have better star power, but they just, Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday were nowhere to be found for the first 2 games.
DeAndre Ayton is the number 1 overall pick. DeAndre Ayton is playing out of his mind.
Yes.
You have Chris Paul and you have Devin Booker. You potentially have 3 of the top 20 players in the entire NBA on that roster. I would put Giannis in the top 20. I would put Middleton in that top 20, but I wouldn't put Drew Holiday in that top 20. Like, that starting 5 for the Phoenix Suns is ridiculous. Like, they are good. They've got great chemistry. The other big thing with last night is Giannis at the free throw line. He was 13 of 17 from the free throw line. He kind of got that stroke going. When I shoot free throws, I am the dribble, shoot. Like, I am a quick free throw shooter, like most people are. It drives me nuts that it takes him forever to shoot a free throw. I'm like, come on, Sergio. Just like Sergio Garcia would address a golf ball and it takes him like 10 minutes to hit a golf ball. But
like Bryson DeChambeau, he lines up a putt for 2 solid minutes and then ends up missing a 6-foot putt.
And the other part is the Bucks. The Bucks cut down on their turnovers. They had 9 turnovers as a team yesterday.
Yes.
And the Suns had 14, which still, for both, that's pretty good ball control. But there again, the points off of those turnovers, that's what you create. Devin Booker obviously struggled mightily yesterday. He was 3 for 14 from the field. He was 1 for 7 from 3-point range, which I had said earlier. He shot 56% in game 2. That's a ridiculous pace. You're not going to repeat that. Did I expect him to go 3 for 14? Right. Absolutely not. Did I expect him to go 1 for 7? Absolutely not. But it wasn't only on him. Like, people are going to point to that he had a bad game. But the Suns as a team were 9 of 31 from 3-point land.
Oh, there was a big regression as for the 3-point game for the Suns. I mean, you could vividly see it. Now, do you think that had to do with Devin Booker's, playing time not being as much as what it's been before?
No, not really, because Devin just didn't have it yesterday. But the thing is that's where they've been fortunate. Like, they were in that game for most of the game till about midway through the third quarter. And then the Bucks went on a big run midway through the third quarter.
Oh yeah, they closed off the fourth quarter the third quarter with a 15-3 run, something like that.
Right, and they were up by 22 going into the fourth quarter.
Right,
their biggest lead was 25.
Tough. So it's tough to make your way back into a game if that's the case.
Absolutely, and this Suns team it's like I said, the first 2 games they were unconscious from 3-point land. Their shots were just falling everywhere. Like, even with a man in their face, they were hitting everything. And they hit a couple of shots like that last night, but it was a role reversal because Drew Holiday found his shot last night. So once Drew got going, and Drew's a big part of the reason that midway through that third quarter they started blowing it open, because he was just sitting behind the 3-point line and he was actually stroking it last night. Like,
he was great.
Splash. I was like, I believe he shot over 50% from 3-point range last night. I think he went 4 for 7.
And it was a whole new Drew. It's something we haven't really seen in the playoffs.
Well, and there again, him and Middleton turned the ball over a lot, which is highly, highly unusual for both of them in games 1 and 2. So they got it going offensively. They got, the turnovers down, which they needed to do because they were very sloppy. The one thing, if they can clean up their rebounding a little bit, which they even out rebounded Phoenix last night by I think it was 36-20 or something like that they out rebounded them. But if they can continue to keep that up, they're going to make this a really good series. And it's like I said, going into this game 3, all the national pundits had already buried the Bucks. Like, this is going to be over in 4 and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Because apparently they didn't watch the second round and they didn't watch the conference finals when the Bucks were like, meh. But this is going to be a series. And I could, hands down, absolutely seen this go to game 7. And like I said, I don't want to see that because it's back in Phoenix, and I would have to give the advantage to Phoenix there.
Right. Well, like we've talked about, they're going to have to steal one on the road. This next home game becomes the most important game. Every game from here on out becomes the most important game for the Bucks. I personally think the only way the Bucks are going to win this finals is if they win it in 6. I don't think they win a game 7 in Phoenix. It's a really tough place to play, and the home teams have been electric in this NBA playoffs. They've been really good, and the Bucks are absolutely no stranger to that. They've only lost 1 game at home this entire playoffs. So if they win out from here till they win, 4 games, that game 6, which would be the championship game, would be in Milwaukee. So they've got to continue this winning that they've established here in game 3. They've got to win these next 3 games coming up, or I just, I agree with Drew here where he says that don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of Giannis, but I got to support my sons. I'm a fan of Giannis, but I don't think that if this goes to a game 7 situation, I just don't see them being able to overcome the Suns. As Nana says, howdy fellas. What's up, Nana?
Hi, Drew Nana. I really liked seeing your puppies today.
Yes. And just like that, we're gonna go break. I'm not even gonna say anything. We'll be back in 2 minutes. And welcome back to Man Hour. As you see there, at Man Hour _ Torry and at Man Hour _ TWW, the Wyatt Williams. That is the Twitter handles right there. If you need any fantasy football knowledge, send us
or just life advice. I give terrible life advice too.
I can't give life advice. I'm still 4, so I haven't seen enough to give life advice yet. But jumping into some sports headlines here, the team with no name, the Washington football team, announces that they will have a name coming in 2022. Now, of course, the team also announces that they will not be accepting any names that revolve anything around an Indian, a Reds, whatever you want to say with the whole situation. Back to the Redskins logo. They will not be going to any kind of an Indian situation. They said no to the Warriors. They said no to several names. I don't remember all of them, but I remember Warriors was one of them that stuck out to me. But they have said they're wanting to completely rebrand. So my question now is, with a rebrand, do you think that we're going to have like a different colorway? Like, are they just going to completely rebrand and reset? Because I think for them to fully move away from, if they're wanting to fully move away from the old Redskins logo, they are going to have to change colors, because if they keep the same colors, people are still going to show up in their older Redskins jerseys. You don't think they will?
No, people will show up, but I don't think they're going to change their colors, because personally, according to my inside source, they are going to be the.
Who is this inside source? Tell us who it is. We all want to know who it is. Spill your sources. Name? Spill the beans.
I can give you his Twitter handle at @manhour _ Torry.
His name is John Cena. No, I'm just kidding. Go
ahead. So I honestly think they keep the color scheme, but I do believe. I think the name that makes the most sense would be the Red Tails for them, in honor of the African American pilots that flew. So I think personally that's what it's going to be. That's just my personal opinion, but I agree with the whole rebrand thing, and I get it. And I do think that potentially they could change everything, because what would they just find? $10 million by the NFL because of the culture.
That's a lot of money.
Because of the culture in your front offices.
And I love Dan Snyder comes out and says he knows nothing about any of it. He had no clue any of it was going on.
Wrong. Yeah. That's a complete load of
crap. I don't know about all that. I'm sorry, Dan, but I don't believe you.
Team, you don't know what's going on, except you've been named in some of the sexual harassment.
There was issues going on with your cheerleaders, with your front office staff, with sexual harassment, racism, horrible, horrible, horrible issues. And you had no clue any of it was going on, but yet there's pictures and videos of you being around it, and it seems a little fishy to me. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't have eyes in the back of my head. I'm sure he doesn't, but at the same time, like, if you're the owner of a NFL organization, you should know at all times what's going on.
What's going on in your organization? Yeah,
exactly right.
For an owner to say, I didn't know any of this was going on.
Right. That's what raises questions.
Yeah, you shouldn't own an NFL franchise if that's the case.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's what raises questions for me. How can you be a owner of a franchise if all of these horrible issues are going on and you've got no clue of it? How can you be an NFL owner at that point if you are not responsible enough to keep track of your own organization and what is going on there? Then you're not fit to be an owner. I don't think that's that bad of an ask. I think that's absolutely true. It's just, it would be stupid of it not to be. It's crazy to me that he could even say that. But nonetheless, I think the Red Tails would be a great, and I do mean great, name, as well as I like to couple them. I saw Presidents was one of them, because it's Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
Monuments would be cool.
I like the monument. I like this because then they just got to change whoever their quarterback's name is to Shane Falco. Because Drew says they should change the name to the Sentinels. Because at first I was afraid. I was petrified. Which I actually just watched that movie last weekend. So, it is fresh in my head right now.
Gosh, but Yeah, no, there's a lot of weird stuff going on with that. I don't know. I think if you're going to go with a rebrand, I think you have to completely if you're wanting to go with a rebrand and you don't want people showing up in their Redskins jerseys, I think you have to go a different colorway. That's just what I'm thinking here. You would have to go with something else.
People are still going to show up in the Redskins jerseys.
Oh, well, absolutely.
No matter what you do, it doesn't matter. Because
absolutely.
There's going to be something like, no matter, like, we're the Redskins and we've always been the Redskins. We'll always be the Redskins. Like, you're going to have those people. And so it does not matter what you do. It's still going to come up. I do think whether or not it's just smoke and mirrors, like Dan Snyder brought his wife on to be the CEO of the team, which
ironically he brought her on 3 days before they got fined.
The NFL, 3 days before the NFL fined him. Right, so he knew something was coming down the pipe.
Exactly. That's another thing that was fishy to me, right? But you have no clue what's going on, right?
Right.
But yet you add it.
Can he get sued for sexual harassment if it's his wife?
See, yeah, and see, I was super excited whenever I saw that he had made her, higher up for the team. I was, that's awesome. I mean, first woman in the NFL to be that high up. It's big strides and stuff. And then 2 days later, it comes out that that they were getting fined for the sexual harassment and all this stuff. And then I'm like, well, that's the whole reason why he did it, was to soften the blow. It has absolutely nothing to do with it.
It wasn't for sexual harassment. It was for the way the front office conducted itself. It was the official wording. I'm like, really? Like, nobody knows what that means.
Exactly. It's absolutely stupid to me. But in some otwe got some two dark topics coming up here.
We do. So it's a dark day for the NFL.
Fair warning on this one. Fair warning on this one. Barkevious Mingo, he played for 5 teams. Played for Cleveland. He played for New England. He played for Indianapolis, Seattle, and the
Pittsburgh.
Falcons.
The
Pittsburgh was 60. The Falcons.
Did he play? I thought he maybe played a year for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but probably maybe not. I think I'm thinking of the Falcons, but
Barkevious Mingo, of course, ends up. Yeah, he gets released, and it was because of sexual harassment issues with. I'm not 100% sure because they said that the child was too young to release the age or what happened or anything, so that makes it even more just disgusting.
Which says they were under the age of 16 then, at least. But there again, depending on, because it was in Florida, wasn't it?
I believe so.
I'm pretty sure.
And did you see he turned himself in? He was the one who turned himself in. The child's parent didn't even find out about it or anything. He was the one who turned himself in.
Mm-hmm.
So
did the parents didn't file a complaint on that one?
No,
he just turned himself in.
So from the story that I read online, which of course the internet is always true, right? So
right.
the story that I read online had talked about how he turned himself in and that the family didn't know about it. And he was the one who he told on himself, said who it was and all that stuff. And then they got a hold of the family, and that's how the family found out, which would be I can't even imagine. I can't. Awful. It makes me sick to my stomach that just this even happens in our world. But it does, and it's a horrible thing. But yeah, so Barkevious Mingo, of course, he gets released from the Falcons, which he absolutely should. And I don't know, he's got to be facing jail time, right?
He's got to be. It's there's no other issue with, like, you have to. He's probably looking at prison time. But there again, if he went in and said, I made a mistake and I just had sex with a 14-year-old girl and I didn't know it, I thought she told me she was 19, they could still charge him. But there again, we have to wait to see what comes out on it. Like, if he literally went and turned himself in and was like, I know this is bad, we're talking about an entirely different situation, especially if the family didn't know and all of a sudden he still got charged. That's what makes me think, like, maybe he did walk in and go like, this isn't right. This is what happened. Absolutely something needs to be done. Real quick, Luke G, you need to get at me on Twitter. You need to contact me ASAP because I have some pretty good news for Luke G. Mr.
Oh man,
I would like to come to Mister, I would like to come to Lambeau Field for the Packers-Lions game, which is the home opener.
Did you get him tickets?
I am about 90% sure I have you tickets.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Luke, he gets to go watch Packers play the Lions at Lambeau, and the Lions get beat. Boy, you heard me right.
Absolutely. Except now my friends just sold their house to my Lambeau because I'm like, oh, you come tailgate. They just sold their house. They're moving into their new house in August.
Oh God, how far are they moving away from Lambeau?
20 minutes, if that. Not even 15, probably.
Luke G says he's been trying to find you on Twitter. LOL.
Hey.
Twitter handle right there.
Right there, Luke.
At @manhour_Torry.
I even tweeted at you with Buck.
Ooh, and Bo comes in and says Lions' second W of the season. That's how we know Bo is a Lions fan, because that's not even the second game.
Yeah, it is.
Gosh.
It's the Packers home opener. That's
I thought the Packers opened at home. Okay,
Jesus,
I thought they opened against
take
home.
your socks off if you need to count.
I'm the one who's asleep here. Sorry, Bo. I fell asleep at the wheel. But anyways, I told you we've got two dark topics here, and I promise you we'll jump off of them now. This one hits close to home for everybody. It's a tough one. Former 49er tight end Greg Clark has passed away at 49. And there apparently was some issues with CTE involved. You know, they haven't released what the cause of death was.
Family believes. The family has said they believe it's CTE related.
Well, and I read the report and stuff, and the family had said that he had shown a lot of signs over the last couple of years that he had developed CTE and that he was really struggling from it and stuff. So it's a horrible issue. It really is. We've got NFL stars, former stars, just passing away left and right now because of these issues. It's something that they've got to get a hold of it. And I will say the NFL is doing a whole lot more to try and fix that issue. It says, it's okay, Wyatt, flip that hair for me, and we'll call it good. Here you go, ready? Boom. Boom.
Booyah.
Just for you, Bo. Just for you, Bo, because I was wrong. I'll be the first one to admit it. I thought the Packers opened against the
New Orleans
Lions. We opened in New Orleans, though. You're right. We opened in New Orleans at Mercedes-Benz. So like I said, I was asleep at the wheel on that one. But nonetheless, back to Clark for a second. Of course, it's a horrible thing. You hate to see it. It's something that's especially sad because it happens so often now. It's becoming so real in our world. We're seeing it left and right now. Especially once they had that movie Concussion came out, that was really the moment where I think a lot of people opened their eyes to the real issue that CTE is with NFL players and how much that there's some issues with it with brain functions after football. I mean, you got to think about it. The stuff these guys put their bodies through every single play. I mean, it's a head at the line of scrimmage. It is a head-on collision. Every single play, you're clacking with these people. Boom, boom, sudden stop motions. And it's a horrible thing. But like I said, the NFL is starting to do some new things, like new safety helmets and stuff. I mean, the high school that I go to, they have helmets now that have you seen those, the Rydell Speed Flexes that have the little indent thing in the front, where if you take a blow that's hard enough to give a concussion, the helmet like pops out funny, like a part of it sticks out, so that way they can immediately get that football player and come check them out to see if there's any issues with a concussion or anything. Right. But that's really been the main cause of it.
My thing with it is I'm going to guess this is going to come out and they're going to show that it is probably CT related, because the family said right away that the death was unexpected, which to me says he probably committed suicide. And it will come out. The one thing I will say is they are trying to figure this out. They're saying you don't know if it's present unless the person's dead. You can diagnose the brain for CT because they're literally your brain has to be removed in order for it. The only thing we can hope for is that they keep developing this where they can start to see the telltale signs, increase a little bit of the mental health awareness aspect of it to try to help these guys. Because, and Nana even just asked, do you guys think the cause of death for years with other players in the past? Yes, it has. Like Junior Seau, was a big one that just took a gun and shot himself right in the heart.
Well, that's
because
what
of
Junior Seau
CTE.
literally shot himself in the chest so that way they could test his brain,
Test his brain.
see that he had CTE. I mean, it's. I just got cold chills while saying that. It's heartbreaking. It's absolutely heartbreaking. How horrible this. It's a real issue. It's horrible how real of an issue it is that we have here. And it absolutely thing where like, I think the biggest thing is there was such a mentality with older versions of football, I should say, where guys wouldn't come out. I mean, there's literally like with Jack Youngblood, who used to play for the Rams. I mean, he broke his leg, played in the Super Bowl on a broken leg, and then played in the Pro Bowl the next week, whenever the Pro Bowl used to be after the Super Bowl, on a broken leg. We've got guys sitting out of the Pro Bowl now because they don't want to get hurt. This guy played the Pro Bowl on a broken leg. So I think that's also part of it, is that there used to be a big mentality with playing sports that you couldn't, sit out and stuff. And I think that has to do with it. But also, helmets, as time goes on, technology develops more and stuff. So the helmets become safer. They've taken out multiple things in the NFL, like the wedge block. So that way that, on kick returns, you're not having two people converging into one. I mean, those are massive if you've ever seen those hits. But like I said, it's a real issue, and it's one that we don't like. But now we're moving off of the dark topics. We have passed all of the darkest. We're moving on now.
We're coming into the light.
And Torry, I'm going to let you break this one down. Fitz undecided on the 2021 season, sir. Go ahead and tell everybody what this is all about.
So Fitz obviously is in the Brett Favre stage of his career. Like, he kind of doesn't know if he wants to retire, doesn't want to know if he comes back. Fitz has now been talked to because obviously the Suns are in the finals. So guess what? Either Larry Fitzgerald or Aaron Rodgers is winning the championship ring this year, because both of them were minority owners of their team. So Rodgers with the Bucks, Fitz with the Suns. But a lot of the questions are surfacing again to Fitz about, are you going to come back? And I don't know. At this point in his career, I think he should just step aside. I am sad that he never won a title. He is just one of those people that you absolutely cannot cheer against. The guy is a humanitarian. The guy is an all-around good guy. Like, you never hear one bad thing about Larry Fitzgerald ever. You never will. Maybe like if he played for the Packers, I'd look at him in the Jordy Nelson sense, where like, you're too clean, there's something wrong, I don't like you. But
I hate that you don't like Jordy Nelson. That kills me every time you say that. He is the nicest human being. The guy literally left football. And you know what athletes do nowadays when they leave their sport? They take their millions and they go buy a mansion and they go live in the, LA night sky, and, they disappear and until they, come back on TV and stuff, or they coach or something. What did Jordy Nelson do?
How many former athletes are you friends with?
None.
So how can you say that they take their millions and go? You are.
They do. Look at all of them. I mean, you see them all on TV. You see them all at games.
Really?
You see them all in the boxes and stuff.
What picture did I send you last weekend?
Which we sent a lot of pictures, Torry.
The one with me and Tim Dillard. So Tim doesn't have millions of dollars. Like, he was like, "Yeah, man, let's go meet up at the brewery and have a couple of beers." Like. So
sure.
like there's
I
there's
just find it crazy
that are just good people even after they stop playing.
Sure. I just find it crazy that like the guy left the NFL, and what did he do? He went straight to Kansas and just jumped back on the farm. Like just hop back on the tractor. It's time to start farming again. His family needed him, so he did it. I've always thought that was cool. Here's my question. You like Tim Dillard, but you don't like Jordy Nelson? Like, they're both like basically the same person. They're both super nice guys who were fun and funny to watch. Tim Dillard is the Jordy Nelson of the Brewers. What?
No.
How does that make sense?
No. He is. I'm trying, because Tim's more of a fun. No, Tim's more of a funny guy. Even as straight laced as Tim is, like Tim's literally a guy that you could like, let's go have a beer, and he's like, let's go. Like, I don't picture Jordy that way. Jordy be like,
that's like
no,
Buck has drank with Jordy Nelson at a softball tournament before. They've had a beer together. I'm telling you, man, they're the same person.
I've never heard Buck talk about Jordy Nelson.
Oh, you should hear some of the stories. There's a story. Have you heard the story about Jordy Nelson knocking him out?
No.
Okay,
Knocked him
so
out with the Bible or
no, no, no.
reading the passages so he passed out.
Yeah, no, they were so Buck and Jordy went to high school in close areas. I believe Jordy went to Buck's rival high school. So Buck was a freshman playing varsity, and Jordy was a senior at this time. And he was going to state and all this stuff, and everybody had loved Jordy, all this good stuff. And he, it was a wide receiver screen. Buck told Buck, I'm telling the story here, Buck. If I botch it, I'm sorry. I'm doing the best I can here. But Buck was playing. It was a wide receiver screen. He was the safety. He jumps up, breaks down perfectly, ready to make the tackle. He's excited. And all of a sudden, Jordy Nelson jumps over him and kicks him in the head on the way on accident. Knocks Buck clean out. He hits the ground. Night. Goes to sleep. So Jordy Nelson has officially kicked one of our co-hosts in the head, knocked him out. And then they had a beer together at a softball tournament in Kansas.
Buck's like, hey, remember that time you knocked me out?
No, that's what Buck said. Buck said that he was like, hey, you remember that time that you knocked me out? He was like, yeah, I remember that. You know how awkward that conversation had to be? Oh, hey, sorry,
well,
man.
not really, because they went from rival high schools to the same college, and they went to the same college. So
right. Both of them went on to play pro football. Both of them. Because Buck went on to play in the CFL.
Playing in Pop Warner football doesn't count, Buck. They're fourth through sixth graders. You were 23.
But Luke G here says, we're talking about Jack Youngblood. Was Youngblood on steroids? And Drew says, Luke, who wasn't?
I don't see, but at that point, I don't think they were. Like, I just think Jack Youngblood was insane.
He was crazy, man.
Just
the
like
stories that I've heard.
You know,
hey, Trevor Story beat Joey Gallo, and your boy Mancini made it through. Mancini beat Olsen in round 1. So Gallo is out, and Shohei Ohtani, I believe, is ready. No, Alonso's ready to go. So Alonso's going to go. But yeah, your boy Mancini, he made it through. That's awesome. But here we got Drew says, I love Fitz, but unfortunately he does have a record. Do you think that Fitz is a Hall of Famer? I do.
Hands down, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's been so good his whole career. So, absolutely, he's one of those.
The only knack they have on him is that he hasn't.
He's never won a Super Bowl. He's been to a Super Bowl, but
right,
yeah, and in the NFL, that's not such a big thing because it's so hard to win one. Like people think it's easy. Tom Brady has made it easy to win a Super Bowl. Made it look easy to win Super Bowls. What it is not. It is not an easy thing to do.
Tom Brady makes everything look easy. Okay, Tom Brady makes golf look easy. You ever seen a clip where it wasn't from when he played Aaron, but it was a celebrity golf charity event? I think last year or maybe 2 years ago, and Tom has his AirPods in so he can talk to the guys in the booth, and Charles Barkley, who's a big golfer, is talking to him, and Charles starts talking all this crap.
He's a golfer. A terrible golfer.
But he so Tom steps up, and he's probably like, I don't know, maybe 100 yards out from the hole, and he chips one up onto the green, and it goes in the hole, and Charles is laughing, and all you hear from Tom is he goes, "Shut your mouth, Chuck," and he gets on the golf cart and rides off. It was hilarious. It was awesome. But no, I absolutely think Fitz is a first ballot Hall of Famer. Like you said, the only knack they have on him really is just the Super Bowls. But still, I mean, the guy's got receiving records. He's done everything. He's literally got every award you can get pretty much, except for a Super Bowl trophy and a Super Bowl MVP. I mean, he's got the Walter Payton Man of the Year. The guy's had an incredible career, and it's not his fault he doesn't have a Super Bowl. He's just loyal to the team in Arizona. At any point, Larry Fitzgerald could have gone to New England and joined with Tom Brady. He could have gone, to Indianapolis and joined with Peyton Manning, or even Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers, and could have attempted to win a Super Bowl. But he was always super loyal to his team, and he never had a good quarterback situation in Arizona really until kind of now. Carson Palmer had a year or two there, in the middle.
He had Kurt Warner. Kurt Warner's a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Well, yeah, but Kurt, like they didn't win a Super Bowl together. They didn't do really anything.
They went to a Super Bowl together.
Yeah, but they didn't win it. Kurt made his legacy in L.A.
You mean St. Louis?
Or St. Louis? Yes, sorry. They were St. Louis Rams then, not L.A. Rams.
Yeah,
Still, but he made his legacy with the Rams.
But he still made the Cardinals relevant the entire time he was there.
He did, but
until they drafted Matt Leinart.
Well, that was a mistake all in itself. Matt Leinart is a Dick's Sporting Goods employee nowadays. He's the manager at Dick's Sporting Goods, but that's beside the point. So and we are going to head to our next. Say it again.
Drew sums this up best. Fitz was a minute and 20 minutes away.
He was
from having a ring until
he was one James Harrison pick six away.
No, he was one. Was it Plaxico that caught that touchdown?
No, it was Santonio Holmes, wasn't it?
Oh, it was Santonio. Yeah, it was Santonio Holmes.
In the back corner of the end zone.
He was one toe drag touchdown away.
Heartbreaker. But hey, we're going to head to break. We will be right back. When we come back, we've got some more awesome content coming up here on Man Hour Radio. And welcome back to Man Hour as we see Torry with the evil companion sitting to his side. I love it.
Yeah, you're so evil,
dog,
aren't you?
That's the cutest dog in the world. I love Boston Collie. It's awesome. I had a friend who had one like our entire life growing up, and it just passed away last year. And like it was like my dogs and his dog were like all of our friends' dog, right? So whenever it passed away, we all like were just tore up about it. We all like got together and like I don't want to say we had a funeral, but we all kind of sat around and hung out together for a little bit and just hung out because it was sad. It was terrible.
Poured out a Capri Sun for the dead homie.
Right. Stole one of his dad's beers, just poured it out at back. Dude, Pete Alonso was going crazy. He just hit 34 home runs. 34.
See, to me, that's just
oh my God.
To do that. You have just used up
No,
90%
35,
of your
35.
energy. He's still
35.
going?
He just hit 35. 35, it's over. He hit 35 to end it. Good God. That is nuts. Well, Salvi Perez is out, Buck. Hey, sorry to break that to you so early. Salvi Perez is standing there chewing gum right now. Like, what did I get myself into?
Buck, like, Salvi Perez is going to win it all, but I mean, that's just Homer speak.
Oh, I'm sure he said something like that, and I'm sure he said Lamar Jackson sucks somewhere in the middle of that. But we know how great he is, and we know how dysfunctional the Buck sports topics are. But we love him. We hang out with him. He's cool, but he just sucks at talking about Lamar Jackson. That's about it. But we talked a little bit about Game 3. Game 4 coming up, though. It'll be in Milwaukee for the NBA Finals. Torry, what are you expecting for this NBA Finals?
A win for the Bucks. And I am expecting continued good play from Drew Holiday. How do they get there?
Do they get there off of Drew Holiday? Okay, hold on. Let me say this. Which is more important? If Drew Holiday balls out and Chris Middleton has an average game, or if Drew Holiday has an average game and Chris Middleton balls out? Which is more important for the Bucks to win?
Chris Middleton balling out.
And just an average game? Because we know Giannis is going to go God squad. We don't even need to discuss if Giannis is going to go crazy because he's already put up 40 points in 2 consecutive games and like 35 the game before that. So we know what Giannis is all about. He's a different breed, of course. But yeah, I agree. I think Drew Holiday is one of those players where if he has a good game, great. But if he has an average game, it's still a good game because how good his playmaking is. Giannis can pick up the slack on that. And if Chris Middleton is really kind of the, I would say, necessary X factor for this team, in my opinion, because if Chris Middleton has a crazy good game, the Bucks win always. It's just that simple.
They have not lost in the playoffs like when he scored like 20 plus, I think.
Yeah.
There's some stat, they have, as long as he's hit. No, I take that back. When he has shot 40% or better from 3-point, they have not lost a game.
Right. He's just a different breed. His mid-range game is so great, and his 3-point range is incredible as well. The problem is he's got to find it. Once he finds his groove, though, him and Holiday as well, the Bucks are a seemingly unstoppable force, especially at home. If they can't find that groove and they can't find that area they need to be at, it seems to be struggle bus for the Bucks. Now, let's say Phoenix wins this game in Milwaukee. Is it over for you? Do you think there's any way that Milwaukee wins 3 consecutive, 2 on the road, 1 at home?
I don't see it. If they lose one, I don't see them. I see the Suns closing it out in 5. Then at that point,
see that's kind of where I'm at too.
Yeah, Phoenix is good, especially an elimination game in Phoenix with that crowd is going to be insane. And as much as like I love seeing that Phoenix do well, just because growing up I was always a Charles Barkley fan. So when he went to Phoenix, I always liked the Suns. It's as much as it would pay me, I'd be kind of happy just because if there's a person that deserves a ring, it's Chris Paul. So
absolutely. See, that's kind of where I'm at too. We're like, I really want to see Giannis win. If I had to pick a team to win this, I'm kind of cheering in a way for the Bucks because I've never had a favorite in the NBA team. I've always just really loved certain players, and I've always just loved the game of basketball. So I've never really had a favorite team, but Giannis is absolutely one of my favorite players, and I would love to see Giannis win a ring, especially this early in his career, because if he does, I think he wins a couple more after that. But at the same time, on the flip side, it's essentially like how Andy Reid was before he won one with the Chiefs. Everybody was dying for Andy to win one. Like everybody was cheering for the Chiefs whenever they played the Niners because everybody wants to see the good guy win. You know what I mean? You want to see the guys like Andy Reid. You want to see the guys like Chris Paul. You want to see the guys that haven't really got that shot ever and finally got their shot. You want to see them be able to capitalize. The guys who have got so close but yet so far every single time. And I have felt so bad for Chris Paul over the years. He seems to got the short end of the stick everywhere. When he was in LA with the Clippers, they could never, and I mean never, capitalize in the playoffs. Well, that's the Clippers as a whole. They still can't capitalize in the playoffs.
That's the one thing I love is that he got traded to the Suns, and that was a third-page story. It wasn't big news like Phoenix creates super team. It was.
I was talking about that the other day.
He got traded to Phoenix to basically end his career and let it die. And what did they do?
Right.
Like they didn't go out and create a super team. That is why it's really hard to, even though they're playing my team, it's really hard to root against them. It's not like they were just
a win-win for you because either your team wins it or the good guy wins it.
Right. So it's like I said, if Chris Paul wins it, I'm going to be sad that the Bucks lost. But one of the greatest point guards of all time in the NBA won a ring. So
finally was able to get over that hump.
Absolutely. And I'm okay with that because guess what? That Bucks team is still pretty young.
Absolutely. I mean, Giannis
there's a tomorrow
26.
I believe,
26, right?
I think he's 25 or 26. Middleton's 28. I think Drew Holiday's 27 or 28.
They're all still in their 20s.
Right.
Here's the thing though, with the Bucks, do you think if they lose in this finals, okay, do you think that they go out and get a superstar of some kind to bring in? Maybe a Kawhi who's going to be on the market. I mean, I know Milwaukee is not a big free agent market, but
they don't have the cap space. They literally don't have the cap space to do it. They would have to break
Kawhi Leonard, you would make it work.
How? You would have to give up Chris Middleton or Drew Holiday in order for that to happen.
I would give up Drew Holiday for him.
Most people would, except that they still have Brook Lopez under a rather large deal as well for 2 more years. So unless you're combining Brook Lopez and Drew Holiday and those contracts, you're going to have to come up with something else. You're going to have to attach draft picks that you don't have and everything else in order to make it work.
On the market. It's not for trade. It's going to have to be for a sign. Like it's just going to be a cold hard contract. That's I kind of agree with you that though that's going to be hard for them to be able to pull off. But speaking of Kawhi on that cold hard contract, another team is kind of surfaced now with that. Of course we've talked about the Mavericks, we've talked about the Heat, but also the Knicks now are in the hunt for Kawhi if he chooses to leave LA. And they've got $36 million in cap space sitting there waiting and smiling. He's just sitting there with a big little smile on his face. That would be cool because
there's a lot of teams though.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping that we can shift some of the star power from the West back to the East to make it a little more competitive across the board NBA. That would be really cool because the West is so stacked right now. I would love to see because we've already seen the Knicks, surprise everybody this year. And the Knicks were kind of one player away. Not kind of, they were one player away.
Kawhi does not end up in New York. Do you know why?
Why?
Zion's going to end up there. They will not go after Kawhi.
Ah, man.
Do you know where Kawhi Leonard is going to end up?
I don't know. I think they're going to have to get rid of Randall. I think it's Dallas. Because I would love for it to be Miami.
These three teams that we're talking about saved a ton of cap space because they all thought Giannis was going to hit the free agent market.
Oh, yeah.
So they chose to not use their cap money in order to
Miami, it was Giannis. Do you remember those days whenever it was a surefire stake? Giannis was going to the Miami Heat. Everybody was freaking out about, he's leaving Milwaukee. He's going to go join Miami. He's going to be down there with Jimmy and Bam and the younger new Splash Bros. Like, everybody's freaking out about it, and then you just see Giannis sign the 5-year mega $1 million contract.
There again, everybody was freaking about it except for Milwaukee fans. Because if you listen to his commentary, if you listen to the way that he has integrated himself into the community in Milwaukee, he's one that's really big on loyalty. And his big thing was from the get-go. And he tried to shut some of it down. Like, Milwaukee drafted me. They took a chance on me they developed me. They've made me one of the best players in the NBA.
Right, because Giannis wasn't anything whenever he came to the league. He was what, the 16th overall pick? He wasn't even a lotto pick.
He was an unknown prospect, is what he was. He had 1 year of professional ball overseas under his belt.
In Greece. Have you ever seen his film?
He averaged like 6 points.
You ever seen his film of him? You ever seen his film of him over there? Like some of the just monster dunks and stuff. Crazy. The film that's crazy to me. Did you see Jamal Crawford is doing like a pro-am league with like, you could pay a bunch of money and people play with celebrity basketball players. He played 2 games yesterday and put up 102 points in those 2 games. What?
I mean, which is kind of cool.
I was like,
welcome to rich people helping other rich people.
Right. I was like, I was watching the highlights of it, and I'm like, what in the world? Are you kidding me? 102 points, and like, it wasn't like, where you watch some pro-am videos, and it's like the guys they're playing are terrible. I mean, some of the defense was, the defender had a hand in his face the whole time. I mean, Jamal was just hitting crazy shots, like spinning fadeaway shots, like just stuff that you shouldn't hit. I mean, unless if you're a professional basketball player.
Jamal's like Iggy. Like Jamal Crawford could still play in the league today. Like he's just like Andre Iguodala.
I think so. Like, absolutely.
He's almost 40. I think he is 40 actually.
Yeah, no, Jamal is. I think he's 41 right now. I think.
Yeah,
I believe so. Something like that.
That doesn't shock me at all.
It's just crazy.
So, Nana says, "Okay, bedtime for Nana. Sending love and prayers for your safety and good health. Night, night. Good night, Nana. Give your puppies a kiss for me.
See you in the morning, Nana. Gotta watch old Buster Boo and Roxy Girl. My girl, man. Hey, Soto is up here. He's gone through. He's at 1:42 left. He's only got 9 home runs. If he's not able to get that going again, Ohtani might be able to come away with this. Do you see Ohtani has finally taken his first ever BP of this season, and he did it because he's in the home run derby. That is why, not because he was struggling batting, none of that, because he definitely wasn't struggling batting this year. He leads the league in home runs. The guy is incredible, but he's taken his first BP, and it was for the home run derby. What?
How many did he hit?
I don't even know. I didn't see how many he hit. I just saw he was back there taking BP. Like he was in, how like MLB stadiums have those like, cages under the stands. Yeah, he was in one of those back there doing BP, just getting ready, I guess. It's like, it's crazy. I'm excited to see how this is going to go, because I feel like this is either going to be something crazy, like this guy is about ready to belt 35 homers out of here, like what Alonso just did, or he's going to hit 2. Like, I feel like there's no middle of the road here. He's either going to do really good or he's going to suck because he hasn't seen much batting practice all year and he's not used to it. I think it's a 50-50 shot. I don't think he just finishes with like 20 or anything average. Of course, now that I've said that, though, he's going to finish with exactly 20 and be average. But I'm excited to see how this goes. But
because it's tournament style, he's only got to beat whatever Soto hits.
Right, and Soto is only at 9 right now. He's got a minute. He just hit 10. I think he's ready to have 11 now. He's at 1:25 left. He is at 11, but now at 12. But yeah, 1:20 left, so he doesn't have a crazy number, not like what Salvi Perez had to beat on Alonso, 35.
How many did Salvi end up hitting? I would have, at that 35. Point, I may have just said.
Or no, Salvi actually had a good number. Salvi hit like 27, I think, 28. He had a good number. I mean, it's a solid number. If he was going up against anybody else in the home run derby, I think he would have moved on, but he just happened to go up against the home run derby god, Alonso. The guy who won it last year just went crazy. But that is all we've got for the moment. We will come right back after a short 2-minute break. We've got more Man Hour action coming up for you. You get to see Buck Nasty here on this ad he created. It's comical. You're going to love it. We'll see you back in 2 minutes.
manhourradio.com.
And welcome back from the break to some more Man Hour Radio action. We got about 40 minutes left of the show here. We're going to have some shop talk closing it off at the end. So be sure to save up all those questions you have now. We will answer every single one of your sports-related questions. That is in about 25-ish minutes, right at about 9:45 Eastern time, which is here where I'm at in the Eastern time zone. Torry, of course, you're in Central time. But you know what they say, people who are in Central time aren't cool. People in Eastern time are. I don't know where I heard that, but I did. I'm just kidding. No, so save all your questions for Shop Talk. We'll answer all your
EST rules.
Yes, exactly. But we save all your sports-related questions. We will answer every single one of those. But now we talked a little bit of baseball with the home run derby. Now we're going to dive a little deeper into baseball here. And Torry, the biggest question I want to propose to you here, we're finally hitting that halfway mark of the NFL, oh my gosh, MLB, totally different sport. In the MLB season, we're finally hitting the halfway mark of the MLB season. What has been your biggest surprise so far in this season?
I'm actually going to say my Milwaukee Brewers partially. I would like to say that, but the real surprise is the San Francisco Giants. We talked earlier in the season. I had said, you know what? The Giants are going to be decent. They're going to be around 500. They're going to be a scrappy team this year. And that's kind of what I saw from them. Little did I realize that they were going to be so scrappy that they were going to be in first place. So this NL West is going to be awesome to watch the second half because it's literally a 3-team race. We could see all 3 teams that are currently in contention in the playoffs come October. And we could end up with a San Diego, San Francisco playing game. We could end up with the, LA and San Diego playing game. We could end up with a San Francisco, LA playing game. Like there is so many things that could happen in that division so far that it's going to be fun to watch. And that playing game will probably be the most watched Major League Baseball game of the season up to that point. I will almost guarantee it because who would not want to watch the Dodgers and the Padres battle to basically play the Giants or whoever they would have to play, whoever would be the number 1 seed, or maybe say it's the Brewers. And God, please don't let it be the Reds because I don't want to get that tattoo.
Well, I tell you who it isn't going to be. It is going to be the Cubs because we went on a big winning spree and then just decided that we didn't like winning anymore. So that happened. But you mentioned your surpriser was the Giants. I'll take it one step further. I think my biggest surpriser was Buster Posey. He looks like early 2010s Buster Posey again. I really enjoyed watching this guy play again. He's back to old form, I guess I should say. So. But with all that being said, who was your beginning of the year World Series prediction? I don't remember off the top of my head. Combs had the Angels winning it. Hoffy had the Padres, right?
I
Who did
do
you
believe,
have?
yeah. I believe I had the Dodgers winning it again.
So if you could reset now, though, who is in your World Series and who wins it?
Ooh,
What are the two teams and who wins it?
who's
Now that we're hitting that
who's in my-
midseason, this is where it gets interesting now because we've got Acuna out at Atlanta. That shakes a lot of things up.
Yep.
You know, we've got Shohei Ohtani, who's playing out of his mind. That's shaking a lot of things up. But he's about to jump into his thing. Soto hit 22 home runs, and he's got to beat 22, which is not a crazy number, but still, it's in the 20s. So we'll see how it is. But anyways, sorry, I keep on cutting you off, Torry.
We'll see how my upset pick works out for me because I picked Soto yesterday.
Hey, you already got your upset pick though, Mancini.
I did. I got my Mancini pick right.
You got Mancini, man.
The storybook is alive.
Absolutely. So I promise you, I will stop cutting you off. You can go ahead now. Who is your World Series picks and your World Series champion? Go ahead, sir.
I'm going to have to go with the I-43 series. I'm going to go Chicago White Sox and Milwaukee Brewers right now. Just because the Brewers pitching, there's not a lot of teams in baseball, but the only team that can match up with them pitching-wise would potentially be the Dodgers, and they're not even as good as they were in the past, or the San Diego Padres. And one of those two teams could be gone before the divisional series even start, because they may have to play in the wild card game to get into the divisional series. But I will take my Chicago.
Man, Ohtani has started out. He's got like 8 pitches right now, and every single one has been a perfect line drive that landed between like first and second. It's not looking so good so far. It is not. Hold on, he might have one here. Let's see. Did he get one? Yes, he's got one. He's got his first MLB home run derby. And then he went right back to the line drives right after that.
Give me the White Sox. The White Sox are playing better. They sent Yerman Mercedes down because his hitting, like he was hitting like 180 something like for like the last month and a half.
Yeah, he just kind of fell off the face of the guy comes out batting in like the 300s at the beginning. No, he hit 400s, didn't he? At the beginning of the year,
yeah,
he was
for
batting
the first,
like 400.
for the first month of the season.
Yeah, he was just crazy in the 400s, hitting like 485-foot home runs, like just ridiculous stuff with exit velocities of like 120. Just unreal numbers, video game numbers in a sense. But he's kind of climbed down the ladder a little bit. What do you think has caused Mercedes to do it?
I'm overthinking, not confident in your swing. There's multiple things. I liken it to Keston here from the Brewers. Like, he played phenomenally. Hit like 280, whatever his rookie year, hit like 28 bombs, like was great. I'm like, oh my God. And then last year he kind of struggled. I'm like, it's a shortened season. He might not have found his stroke, but man, that guy just swings at everything, and he'll play well in stretches and then just go back. And then like, he'll have a game like he had the other night against, I believe it was the Reds, and he was 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. Like, I don't know what happened, but a lot of it becomes a mental thing. The quicksand theory for, things start going wrong and you try to press harder and things just keep going more and more wrong, where the more you try to dig out of it, the deeper you go. And I think that's kind of what's going on with Mercedes right now. Same thing with Keston Hiura as well. Like, I'm hoping that the All-Star break, like, they just got to figure out where the hitch is in his swing or what he's going through mentally to like think that he's going to hit that ball that is, 2 inches off the ground. He's going to golf ball it and where he's going to hit it. So it's just for him. It's a matter of, I don't think he's seeing the ball as well as he wants to, and his swing is just off.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. There's definitely been some kind of a struggle there. So you have them in the World Series, though. So do you think he's going to jump back to form?
I don't think he'll jump back to form, but I think he'll jump back up. And I think he's going to be the player that we all kind of thought he was going to be, which is right about a 240, 250 type of power hitter. And it's like I said, there was something with him with his swing. It got to be mental, and I think they're just going to make some adjustments with him, and they'll bring him back up. He'll come back up, and he'll probably be a little bit better player. Obviously, you're not facing all major leaguers down at that level, but you're facing guys that can potentially be in the major league, so it's not that much of a drop off. So I think they get it figured out with him, and they get him back up, and he becomes a productive player again.
Absolutely. So now moving on to more baseball talk as Ohtani now is closing off 2-1. That ends it, and we'll see your final pitch. He ended with 15. I told you, man, it's either going to be super low or it's going to be super high. He ended with 16. You called it, yeah. Soto ends up. So Soto wins it. Soto wins it 22-16. But the MLB draft, of course, was yesterday, and I wanted to ask you a couple of questions about that. We talked about some of the surprises from the MLB season, but your biggest surprise from the MLB draft yesterday, what was that?
The number 1 pick, Davis, the catcher that the Pittsburgh Pirates took. He's a good prospect, but I think that there was better players out there. You had Lawler, who I think was a great player. I thought for sure he was probably going to be Leader, that went number 1 overall. I mean, it's Al Leader's kid. He went number 2, but I believe Lawler was one of the top ranked prospects, and he fell all the way down to number 6. So how that happened, I don't know. But I think that Davis could turn out to be a great catcher, but you just don't see a lot of catchers go number 1 overall unless they're a generational talent. And I don't think he's a generational talent.
I was incorrect. Ohtani got to the point where he could have a bonus round, and now that he's in the bonus round, he's hit the first 4 out. We'll see. He needs 4 more now, and he's got 40 seconds to do it. That one looks good. We'll update you on that one as that one goes along. But your biggest sleeper for the first round, I wanted to ask you that one as well. Who was your biggest sleeper in this MLB draft on somebody who could potentially be a future star of the MLB?
I am going to sound like such a homer here, but Sal, that the Brewers took. Shortstop.
Oh, my God. Here we go. Brewers are going to be in the World Series. Their pick is the best guy in the draft.
The thing is listen, this kid was pretty much a consensus top 10 pick. Nobody in the world thought he would even slide past the Mariners at number 12. And there again, the Brewers aren't like super thin at shortstop in their system, but the kid's a shortstop. And for him to fall to them at 13, I think it was at 13 that they got him. That was a great pick. He's got like a plus 60, whatever. He's got a plus 70, batting, tool. Like he's graded out really well as like an all-around shortstop. So, a lot of people had him going in the top 10 and he didn't go, and he fell to the Brewers. So to me, that was probably the biggest surprise because, a lot of times in baseball, you don't see a ton of guys fall like that. Like usually the pundits are pretty close to being dead on. And so I really like that pick for the Brewers. It's a pick for the future. So I'm always okay with that because their cupboards are bare. But if they remain competitive and he starts developing, guaranteed that kid turns around and gets dealt.
So Ohtani ended up tying it 22-22. They're going to the I guess the overtime. It'll be a 3-minute timed at bats, single elimination, batter to hit most home runs advances to the next round. 2 minutes in the final round with 45-second timeout. All batters are awarded a 30 seconds at the end of the round and awarded an additional 30 seconds if they hit a home run of 475 feet or further to give themselves a bonus minute, which is how Ohtani ended up winning it. He had that bonus 30 seconds that he got because he had a bomb 470-something feet, which is ridiculous. But Soto is now getting back into the box, and Ohtani will go next. But no, yeah, I think that I was decently surprised to see where the Pirates go with him at 1 as well. The thing that I've always enjoyed about the MLB draft, and it's what sets the MLB draft apart from every other draft, is how involved that like high schools are with it. There were how many high schoolers? There are how many high schoolers taken every year in it. Like can you imagine being 17? You're a junior in high school. You're going into your senior year, and the Red Sox draft you. Like, what? How do you walk around school every day without people bugging you 24/7? Hey, can I have an autograph? Can I have an autograph? Can I have an autograph?
Well, and the thing is, and what's different there is they then have a choice of whether or not they want to sign with them. they don't, just because they draft, they don't have to sign with them. They could say, nah, I'm going to go to college instead. And then they get to re-enter the draft. Like
Right.
they basically get a chance to either refine themselves or a do-over. You know, I mean, it works.
So-
it's a double-edged sword at that point. Like you could be a really highly rated prospect and maybe you were drafted in the first round and you said, nah, I'm going to go to school. All of a sudden, like your senior year of college, you get hurt and you went from a first round pick to a 5th round pick, you know?
Right. So if you end your senior year in college and you go to the draft, can you re-enter the draft after that? Is that your last opportunity?
I believe that you can just you can re-enter the draft anytime you want after you go to college, I believe. Like, so like if you go to college for like, 2 years, I don't think you have to wait the 4 years. Like you could probably, it might be like the NFL where you just got to be, okay, you got drafted out of high school. No, you don't want to do it. Or you got to play at least 2 years of college ball. So it might not be until you're a junior that you can get drafted. But for a lot of those guys, it's, they will wait till their senior year because they will try to improve their draft stock as much as they can.
So my final 2 questions for you before we take it to break and before we get back on Shop Talk, which like I mentioned, everybody be sure to save your questions. We will answer every single sports related question that we can get to before we end our show. But the next question I had for you, and it is what has been the biggest disappointment in the MLB season so far to you? That's the first question, and then the second one I'll get to in a minute. But what has been the biggest disappointment to you so far in this MLB season?
For me, it's mostly a team. And for me, it would be the Minnesota Twins. The Minnesota Twins were supposed to be right there in the mix. They were going to be one of the better teams. Their pitching staff suffered and everything else. So they have been absolutely dreadful this year. And that came out of nowhere. Like I thought the Twins would be pretty good. And that's where I was giving Hoffy crap, like on his preseason rankings. Like he had like the Brewers like in like the 4th tier, and he had the Twins. I want to say it was like in the 2nd tier of teams that potentially could make the World Series. I'm like, are you serious? So I think so far on the year, it's the Minnesota Twins. The Minnesota Twins have just been dreadful this year. For a team that broke a major league record for home runs in 2019, they look nothing like that team in 2021.
Absolutely. And then my final question for you. The biggest thing that I like about the MLB with All-Star Weekend and everything, it's a lot of fun to get to watch things like this, like the Home Run Derby, of course, which Ohtani is at 2016. He's 2 more with 28 seconds to win it. But the biggest thing that I like, too, is how involved it is with the World Series, where whichever division wins the All-Star game is the division that gets home field advantage in the World Series. So I got to ask you, which division is going to win the All-Star game?
I'm always gonna cheer for the National League every time. I always hope the National League wins it just because I like no DH. I really
You're
like
a homer.
No DH.
Homer.
I just
you like making the pitchers bat.
I do. I like making pitchers hit. You make a lot more than
Ohtani ties it again. It's 28-28.
Because pitchers tend to make a ton more money than position players. So for that, I don't feel sorry for them having to bat. I don't care if you suck or not. There are some pitchers that can rake. So I am completely
Ohtani,
okay
we've
with
seen it here.
Right. But your Ohtanis are far and few between. But there are some pitchers that can handle the stick. So sure. I am okay with that. I am more than fine with that. I know Combs wants universal DH because I don't want to see the pitcher hit. I like watching the pitcher hit because there is nothing better than watching the pitcher rake one and go yard on somebody.
See, that is really cool to me when a pitcher hits a home run and everybody goes crazy. I love those moments.
Earlier this year when Brandon, I think it was earlier this year, maybe it was last year, when Brandon Woodruff from the Brewers took Clayton Kershaw deep.
See, and that's such a big disrespect thing for pitchers too.
I'd just stare him down and be like, "What's up?"
Right, and then he would beam you in the head with a 90-mile-an-hour fastball the next time you came back. Next time you came back around and got in the batter's box. That's what's cool about baseball too, man. It punishes itself. The sport does the sport punishes itself in a sense.
Polices,
you know what I mean?
it polices itself.
It polices itself. That's a better term. But those were some of the questions I had for you. As we're gonna see, I guess, a double overtime here of Ohtani and Soto as Soto steps back into the box. And we will be back in 2 minutes to talk more about this. But we've got Shop Talk coming up. When we come back, be sure to give all those questions now in the comments. We'll be looking for them, and we will answer all of your sports-related questions when we come back from this break.
What is your name?
What?
What is your name?
Fuck.
Where did you get that shirt?
It's funny that you should ask that. Head over to manhourradio.com. You can pick up the shirt up. $15.
And welcome back to Man Hour. As you see, Torry has completely disappeared on us. Oh, there he is. He's back.
I had to go take care of the dogs quick.
I didn't see you were gone, or else I would. It was my bad.
Well, I'm like,
but,
I hear the music and I'm like jogging back.
Right.
Room.
We can kind of know in the back of our head where that spot is, where it stops. But it's a mad dash to the bathroom and back. But nonetheless, you made it. And just in time for some shop talk, we have got some questions coming in now as we're going to answer all of your sports-related questions. First one I see here, Javi Gonzalez says, best show ESPN is coming. Javi, we appreciate it, man. Javi is one of our biggest supporters, along with Drew, Bo, everybody. Nana, Joey, everybody who tunes into the show, we appreciate it greatly, very much. See here, Bo says he's leaving for the night. Got to take my mutts out, then crash. Good night, good job tonight, fellas. Bo, I appreciate it. We love you for tuning in, man. We appreciate it very much. But yeah, any sports related questions anybody has? Drew, Joey, for the night, so we don't have our tech whiz genius, so we can't. Of course, we can't have anybody call in because me and Torry are not tech savvy like that. But it's fine.
And if you guys don't ask questions,
I think Soto just won. Soto just beat Ohtani.
Did he?
I think so. Yeah.
If you don't ask questions, this is what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Aaron Rodgers because I know you all want to talk about Aaron Rodgers.
Sure.
Because that's just a daily thing at this point.
Absolutely. I thought that video you sent us the other day was hilarious.
The thing is I think Schefter they put that together at the ESPYs, and the fact that Schefter tweeted it out was freaking hilarious.
Well, yeah. Well, it's kind of like I felt like it was him responding to all the people that gave him crap about, him finishing stories on their own, which I didn't like, but it is what it is. But yeah, I think it was a funny video for sure, especially whenever Justin Timberlake gets on there and Justin's talking about, like, I heard he's going to go to the NHL. Wait, that didn't make sense. And he was like, but hold on, it does. Look at his hair. That's definitely a hockey mullet. He's going to the NHL. just the stuff that they came up with on that. It was a hilarious commercial. But yeah, I actually asked you earlier pre-show if you thought Aaron was coming back, and you mentioned the hair. So go ahead and fill everybody in on that.
So it's an interesting comment. It could mean absolutely nothing. It could mean everything. But
at this point, everything means nothing.
Right. So
unless if I hear Aaron Rodgers himself say I'm coming back, I don't believe anything.
So somebody made the observation that Aaron was growing his hair out. He had like the little mini man bun going, all that stuff.
Right.
Somebody made the observation that he got his hair cut, which he usually does right before training camp starts. My thing is he's coming back when the stash comes out. And depending on what kind of stash he wants, he always does a stash for training camp. So if the stash comes back, the haircut usually is a really good indicator as well. So I think personally, and there again, I've said it all along, I still thought he was coming back all along. At this point, he's at the point in his career where he just might be like, I don't feel like practicing much anymore, so I'm just not going to do it. The whole Office Space thing of, I don't like my job very much. I'm just not going to go. I think that's where he's at in his career. But there again, as a veteran player, you usually get cut some slack that way as well. So we'll see. Like I said, this could literally mean everything and nothing all at once.
Oh, sure. And that's kind of how everything with this Aaron Rodgers thing from the beginning, from the moment that we lost the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and all the rumors started, from that moment, everything has been speculation. Everything has been, I heard this from this and I've heard that from that. And, at the end of the day, what's funny is there's probably some random person who hates Packers fans. I'm sure it's Combs. I'm sure it's a Bears fan that is just making up all these rumors to drive Packers fans crazy, to cause them stress, to cause them all this stuff with their quarterback leaving or coming back. I'm sure there's some troll out there who's making all these rumors, and they're somehow, some way making their way to Adam Schefter. But nonetheless, it's definitely an interesting situation. I'm getting to the point to where I think that if Aaron was going to leave, I think it would have happened by now. I agree. If Aaron was going to leave, I think it would have happened at that June 1st deadline where he was, where the contract had made it easier for him to get traded and all that stuff. So I just feel like if he was going to be moved, we would have seen it by now. I just can't imagine him waiting this long to just leave. It just doesn't make sense.
Well, and there again, I love the thing that came out last week of there's no trade market for Aaron Rodgers, which is why he's not been traded. No, there's no trade market because the Packers said we're not trading him. So push off, And then you got Von Miller came out today. I'm pretty sure if the Broncos wanted to get, Aaron Rodgers, I think that they have the right people in place that they would be able to get Aaron Rodgers if he was available. So, there again, it's a lot of lip service, and I'm with you on it. I'm planning on is if Rodgers will be there under center week one.
I'm also kind of getting to the point to where I just don't care anymore because I've heard so many different rumors and so many different stories. I'm kind of just getting to the point now to where if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. If it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen. Where I'm just waiting for the day that I see Aaron Rodgers has been traded to blah, blah, blah. Aaron Rodgers has said he's coming back to the Green Bay Packers. I'm waiting for that ESPN update. Until then, I've stopped. I've stopped listening. I've stopped looking because every time that I do, it leads me to this road that I find. And it's always, where did this come from? Who said this? Because it's funny because you can find the rumors everywhere. They're everywhere. But you know what you can never find? Who said them? Who said what? So that's why I just don't find it credible anymore. I can't because I never see who said it or anything like that. So like I said, I'm just to the point now to where I don't care anymore about it. I'm just waiting until I see Aaron Rodgers is going so and so where. But we've got our final 4 set for the home run derby. It's going to be Juan Soto number 8 versus 5 Pete Alonso, 7 Trevor Story versus 6 Trey Mancini. So your guy is still hanging in strong. He's got a really good shot to advance the final here.
Did you see Soto though? So apparently Trevor Story broke the longest home run record at 518 feet.
Like just now?
Run derby today, yeah. And then Soto just beat him in that last round with a 520-foot blast. That's what you get for playing. That's what you get for playing at Coors Field.
Are just unhuman. What I find is funny. I saw a meme the other day, and this had me dying laughing. It was a picture of Ohtani sitting in the dugout, and he's balancing a ball. He's balancing a baseball in the back of his hand, and the meme said, "Isn't it funny how podcasters always are talking about this guy like he's the next coming of Babe Ruth?" And every time that you see him while he's in the dugout, he's doing some weird stuff like this, like balancing a ball on his hand. Meanwhile, the broadcasters are talking about how he's the next coming of Babe Ruth, and he's balancing a bat on his head or a ball on his hand or just doing something stupid and weird. But I thought that was so funny when I saw that. I'll try and find it, and I'll post it on Facebook and Twitter and everything for everybody to see. It was hilarious. It had me laughing for a long time because it's true. Every time I watch an Angels game, they're like, "Oh, this guy's the next coming of Babe Ruth. This guy is this guy is that." And then it switches to him in the dugout, and he's like twirling his hat in circles, or he's looking in circles like this, or like I said, balancing a ball on his hand, or juggling, like just doing something out of the ordinary that you don't see guys doing in the dugout. Another funny thing with Ohtani is when Mike Trout messes with him. You ever seen Mike Trout like messing with him and stuff?
No.
Have you? So Ohtani doesn't speak English very well. Actually, I don't even know if he speaks any at all. Right. I don't know if he speaks any at all.
He's still using an interpreter. So
yeah. So Mike always I watched a thing the other day. It was like cooking with the Angels, something like that. And they had the cooks from the Angels like come out and cook with Mike Trout and Ohtani. And Mike Trout kept on like talking to him in English, messing with him and stuff. And Ohtani was just kind of like smiling and sitting there. It was just funny. Mike Trout is a goofy guy too, but yeah, no, this is awesome. And actually, Mancini is up next. Story is going right now, but no, I just found that meme funny that he's just always doing something goofy.
Yeah, I don't. There again, I don't have cable, so I don't get any of that.
Right. I've got the Walmart Wi-Fi. You've got the Walmart TV service.
I haven't had cable for over 10 years. Like
you get it with you get it now though with Spectrum, right? Now that you work for Spectrum.
Why you dropping my employer's name without their permission on the show?
So, you work for AT&T, don't you?
Oh God, don't insult me. So yes, I will have it because it will be included as part of my benefit package.
That's nice.
I mean, but still, like cable ain't cheap. So I mean, I got it. I got rid of it years ago because I really don't. The only thing I was really missing was I wasn't able to get Brewer games on or Bucks games. That was it. I could still get all the local channels. I could still watch football. I'm not a big TV watcher, so I would always.
So are you a movie guy or what?
I'm more a movie guy. I am more a movie guy. I'm a gamer. I like to game, so that's kind of my thing more than anything. That's my way to unwind and relax. That's my thing. That is my free time of let my mind go is playing games. So like,
what is your favorite game then?
I showed you my favorite.
We don't care what your favorite game is, Torry. This is Man Hour. Man Hour Nation, rise up. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow night. Man Hour Nation, rise up, baby.